Here we are back at it again. Another night, another video. And today, if you don't know, we got a reaction, all right? We got a reaction. It's my boy talking about how the military has positively changed his life. And I could for sure name a few ways which the military has positively changed my life, but I'm gonna let him get it first, right? So if you're watching this on Facebook, hey, give me a like, give me a follow if you like this video. If not, that must mean you on YouTube watching it. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. All right. And without further ado, here we go.
What's up, you guys? It's your boy Next back with another video. In today's video, we're talking about how has the military positively affected my life. So I've been in the military for not long, honestly, only about 2 years, and soon I'm gonna be hitting like my third year and all that. But I just want to talk about it because I feel like the military gets a lot of hate online, some rightfully so, some are unjustified. So I just want to talk about how the military positively affected my life, and maybe it would, it will help you out some. So I'm just going to begin. The first way the military positively affected my life is meeting more like-minded men, right? When you're outside the military, sometimes it can become hard to meet like-minded men, like specifically men. A lot of the jobs that I had in my life was mostly women. Like most of the jobs, even like Walmart was mostly women when I worked there. Purdue when I was working at the chicken factory, mostly women. When I was teaching, mostly women. When I was almost everything that I ever done in my life, I worked with mainly women. So
He ain't lying. He ain't lying at all. I can recall, let me see. I think my first time working like in a corporate office setting was at a bank, and it was like 50-50. I'm not gonna lie. Right there. Then it was 50-50 when I worked in the branch now. There were other places that I went and helped out at and worked with some other people. And I'm not gonna lie, it was 100% women. I think I was the only male that was in the entire office that day or that time. And for me, just personally, I think when it comes to like customer service and helping people out and things like that, I think women do a phenomenal job at that. So I think that's why it's so the ratio is so unbalanced when you go into places like that. Because when you're talking to somebody, you want somebody that's easygoing, you want somebody that's delightful, that's cheerful, that's joyful. And women tend to be that a lot of times, right? They have a great sense of humor, they're able to converse and have empathy a lot of times in certain situations. So I think when it comes to that, a lot of times women just they cut out for the job, right? And they do a phenomenal job. So I have to agree with them right there. All right, now let's get back into it.
first job I ever had where I'm working with mostly men. And within a lot of those thousands of guys I meet on a regular, there's a few guys that stand out. It's a few guys that became my brother for life. The army really is built like with a brotherhood in mind. That is not cliche, and it's a great thing. I made some friends in the army that I will have for the rest of my life, long after we all got out, long after. I know it for a fact. Yes, you're gonna run into those fake people too, just like any other job, any other point in life, right? You're gonna run into fake people, people that pop junk, blah blah blah. But we're not talking about that right now. You're gonna make some friends in the army that you will have for the rest of your life. I promise you. My uncle did 20 years in the army, right? He retired a first sergeant, and he before I even joined, he told me that, yeah, you about to make some friends in the army that you gonna have forever. And I get what he's saying, because the army really is a brotherhood. And I would say that about the Marines too, because I met a lot of Marine guys like in my travels, and a lot of the shout out to the Marines. They pretty cool. I can't lie. I just don't like drinking with them too much. They drink too much beer. I'm more of a liquor person when I do drink. But
I'm gonna touch on that real quick because he said something that's honestly very true. A lot of times, like even in high school, all right, we would have people that would come out and they would talk to us and give us like motivational speeches and things like that. And the one that I specifically remember was a tall, super jack black guy, man, bald. I'm talking about jack to the end of earth, man. It don't even make no sense. He was about 6'4", and even though he spoke very professionally, he really wasn't like a big, super loud hype guy. He spoke some very profound words, going into our game, that Thursday night before we played. And it was a beautiful thing, man. I love hearing stuff like that. Also, one of my guys now, man, we've traveled, we've had hardships together, we've talked about a bunch of different things. He's also from the Marines. Great guy, man. The job that I had in the civilian world before I got here, one of the guys that I kind of looked up to in that office was a also a former Marine. Just a cool guy, calm, laid back, real chill, like just do his work, keep his head down, and he really rocked with you, man. So I respected that about him too. And I also had a boxing coach, man, Golden Glove champ in his days, had two heart surgeries, just a beast amongst men, man. He out here still going hard, still going at it. He was also a master gunnery sergeant. So yeah, I've encountered a great deal of Marines who are just phenomenal people. There's nothing bad I can say about those guys. All right, funny. Hey, quick story, man. I ain't gonna lie. I did want to. I ran into this one Marine, man. He was just a disgruntled, grumpy young man. Man, he was short, kind of stubby, chubby little guy. Man, I was working at Chick-fil-A, and I was working in the drive-through that night. I was a manager or whatever, and we were about to close, right? And you know how people is. Like a lot of people like to jump in the line like 5 minutes before you close. And he came in, and I had already shut and locked my window, right? So he came through the window because I guess he had ordered before we closed. He tried to come back through. And I was like, I'm sorry, man, we closed. And he was like, I'm just asking, can you do this? And I was like, I can refund you your money, but I can't necessarily like get your food back because like the stuff you asking for like is already shut down, like everything put up. This man got so mad, and I told him if he come inside like real quick I could help him. Nah, I really wasn't supposed to be doing that because that's a safety hazard, but I told him like I'll help you out. This dude got so mad he started turning red, cussing, I'm a effing Marine and I served my country and I did this. You know what a Marine is? I'll F you up and I'll do this to you. You don't know who you effing with, throwing the food all at the window. I just ain't gonna lie. I just closed the window on him, and I'm listening to this dude yell through the window, but he throwing food and all this stuff at the window and talking about how he'll f me up, and I'm like, brother, it's best that you go home because I don't care how many years you did, how many times you've been deployed. I'm looking at you, brother, and there's no way on God's green earth you're gonna whoop me. So it's best for you to go home, stop scaring my employees, stop acting like this, stop being belligerent because it's gonna get ugly. I'm not one of them. Don't let this tie and this button down fool you. I ain't one of them. So I had to kindly dismiss this guy. Of course, he went home upset and all those things like that. But that was the only time I really ran into a Marine that I could say I had a bad experience with. Any other time, man, they're great guys. I'm not gonna lie. They phenomenal people. But I know how people are when they're hungry. I just thought that was funny that he talking about he was gonna whoop me. You might have whooped some people in your lifetime, but me, I wasn't gonna be one of them. I'm just gonna be honest, bro. Real talk. All right, let's get back into the video.
Yeah, that's the first way the army positively affected my life. The second way the army positively affected my life is helping me build more discipline for myself. Yes, going to PT every morning can be very annoying and it could be tiring. You could maybe the night before you couldn't really get sleep like that. So you only running off for 3 hours of sleep. But I'm so disciplined in my day-to-day life now. I'm always exercising, right? I'm always in good shape. I'm always trying to keep myself well groomed. Well, I'm overseas right now, so my beard is less well groomed because of my shaving profile. But when I get back to the United States, I'm gonna start doing my beard like I used to. But when it come down, in the army, you gotta keep a haircut. You can't just look unprofessional with a crazy looking hair, especially when you're in garrison. Garrison basically means you're in the United States, and then when you leave the United States, you're not in garrison no more. That's what that means, right? So, in the army, it helps you get a higher level of discipline for yourself. You're always gonna keep a haircut. You're always gonna go to the gym, right? You're always, if you embrace the army lifestyle, you're going to do these things. You're always gonna be in decent shape, have a good looking haircut, have nice fitting clothes. You're always gonna know how to talk professionally, you know. So in that aspect, the army has made me a better man. That way, when I leave the army, I know I'm gonna be better because I joined. So
All right, I'm gonna address that real quick. I'm gonna address that real quick because he said that the army will give you a greater level of discipline, right? And it's helped him positively develop a greater level of discipline. And I could say for a lot of guys who embrace the culture, who embrace the customs and courtesies and the traditions that the military has put in place, specifically the army, it will 100% do that for you. Now, I'm not gonna say me in particular because this is my thing, right? So check this out. I was like 28 when I joined. Been involved in sports my whole life, played football in college, and had jobs, managed jobs, been general managers, all types of things, right? So I've been in charge of people before. I've been in corporate America before. I worked in the office environment. I've had to wear a suit and tie to work every single day, hard shoes, hard bottom shoes. So for me, I already had this, like an extreme level of discipline. I'm talking about diet, where I'm fasting, working out to where in boxing I had to lose a certain amount of weight in order to um gain a competitive advantage in what I was doing because I was way too bulky, way too muscular. Um to the point where I had like even my closet, my shoes, the way my bookshelf, everything was set up. Like my life was very structured, very disciplined. So I already had this prior to joining the army. When I got in, it really wasn't much they needed to do, right? I was already set in my ways. I was already who I was. But for a young guy, 18 to I say like 22, yes, it will give you that, right? Especially if you didn't grow up like that. Now, my daddy was in law enforcement, so it's just a lot of things he didn't play. Like you gonna have your school clothes on, you're gonna have them laid out, sitting on the couch for the next day, or you're gonna have them all on in your closet and ready to go. So I've been living life like that for a long time. The structure, the discipline, I've had that my entire life. So I'm not gonna say necessarily me, but for majority of the guys that I see, it does, especially if you embrace it the way you should. Yes, it will give you a greater level of discipline, and that's an extreme positive in your life, right? That'll stick with you for a long time. So let's get back to it.
I mean, hey, stop acting like the military is that bad. I get it, we got our problems, but it's not that bad. Let's move on. Third way the military helped me improve my life is, let's just be honest, money, right? Yes, the money I make in the army, I made other places in life before, but the army is a guaranteed paycheck. When I was back in the United States, right? Let's say we had a 3 day week, which has happened before, which is rare. 4 day weekends are very common though, but 3 day week, so let's say you work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You don't work for the rest of the week until that next Monday. You're still going to get paid the same amount no matter what. And because of how consistent and guaranteed that paycheck is, it makes it easier just to build your wealth, invest. It makes it easier to pay off debt, things of that aspect. That's why you notice a lot of guys join the military a couple years later, they got a very nice car. That's because when you work at a place like Walmart or Purdue, different jobs where you get paid by the hour, because I worked plenty of those jobs in my life. Let's say they start cutting hours because the store not making enough money. They just start cutting hours. They hiring too many people, which a lot of jobs do sometimes. So they cut in hours. So now you go from making, let's say, 1,500 every 2 weeks. Now you only making a band every 2 weeks. That's $500 per paycheck that you missing out a month, right? That's over a band less a month when you're still working just as hard, just not as long hours. In the army, that don't exist. As long as you keep your head up.
Now I ain't gonna lie. He spot on with that one, man. Again, I'm not saying that I can relate to this story because for one, two, three, I could say for half the jobs I had in my adult life, I was on salary. So I can't really relate to that. And it's very much like the military. Sometimes I was working 6, 7 days a week. Sometimes I was only working a few, right? When I got into my last couple of jobs where I was working in the office environments, you get PTO, you get MTO, you get federal holidays, all federal holidays. So it was smooth sailing. It was sweet. I ain't gonna lie. Um, and it was also essential. So when the big bug happened that kind of affected everybody, I wasn't affected. In fact, I was getting more hours then, right? So I can't really relate, but I understand business and I understand how things work because I have been a manager at an hourly job, and I'm not gonna lie. The first thing you do when the store is over budget, or when you're not making as much money, is you start cutting hours. You got to cut that labor. That's the first thing you're gonna do. You're gonna look on that P&L, and if your P&L ain't correct, if you ain't in the green on that, the first thing you're gonna look to is labor. You're not gonna cut out. Well, you're probably not gonna order as many utensils, but you're not gonna cut out food. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna cut the store hours. You're gonna cut people. So even if on a usual shift you running with five, you're gonna take your three best people and you're gonna put them in there and y'all gonna run that thing into the ground. Like, that's just what it is. So he's not lying about that. And that's one thing about the military. That steady paycheck, no matter how much you work, it's gonna be different. So the schedule is it's a little shaky sometimes, depending on unit or your op tempo and things like that. But that is one major benefit that I can say. I haven't really been at a point in my life where I could just work one job, one steady job, and be straight all the way through. I think majority of my 20s up until like I was like 27, I was working two jobs, right? Trying to just get ahead, get so far ahead that I can kind of chill and relax for like 2, 3, 4 months max. But that is a great thing, like the financial stability that it provides, also with the schedule, with your leave time. It's a beautiful thing to have that a lot of people can't really relate to, or that they may not have. So some people don't like certain aspects about the schedule in the military as far as training goes, deployments and things like that. But from what I've experienced, man, it's for me, it's too much downtime, which is one of the reasons why I started doing social media. I'm not used to having so much downtime in the afternoons, on the weekends. I'm really not used to that. I'm used to waking up, going from 4 or 5 in the morning all the way to midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning the next day. That's just how that's how I was doing it. I'm gonna be honest, but I like that. So let's jump back into the video. Let's see what else he got.
You're not doing a bunch of super dumb stuff, you're gonna get the same pay, and your pay is only gonna go up the longer you got in, right? Let's just talk about the army pay, right? I'm not gonna act like you're gonna join the army automatically get rich. No, that's cap. You're not gonna automatically get a Hellcat. I'm sorry for my people that interested in joining the army because y'all want Hellcats. Nah, but look, when you join the army, your first year you might make minimum wage. That next year you're gonna be a step above minimum wage. Let's say you get married, they're gonna give you an extra like 2 bands a month just for being married to buy a house or a apartment, whatever it is you decide to do with your family life. You feel me? Some units, when you a specialist or E5, they let you get BAH2 by yourself. So now you don't even need a wife and kids to have an extra 2,000 per paycheck. So every year you be in the army, right? Once you reach 4 years, every year you stay in, or like it's like 3 or 4 years. Every year you stay in, you get another bonus on top of your paychecks, right? Plus you got bonuses, sign-on bonuses. I got a $20,000 bonus when I entered the army. I got 10K up front, and the rest of it is gonna be trickled down through my paycheck for the rest of this contract. So there's a lot of money in joining the army. Do I think that we need to get paid a little more? Yes, because we work very, very hard. But it's a guaranteed paycheck, bro. It's gonna make it 10 times easier to pay off your debt because you know that paycheck is coming no matter what. A lot of people in the army, they don't have a money problem, they have a spending problem. That's why they be broke. You just spending too much money. Because I guarantee a lot of other people, if they had your exact paycheck, which is guaranteed, their life would be 10 times better than what yours is because you're undisciplined. A lot of soldiers be undisciplined. That's why they be broke, not because they not getting paid that much. So let's move on. I got one more.
All right, let me touch on that last little part real quick. He want man, he's spot on. He said he only been in for 2 years. Like, I ain't gonna lie, this brother here's not game goofy. He gets it. He understands a lot. But he was spot on. Now the marriage thing, I'm gonna tell y'all like this: a lot of people like to join the military, and no offense to anybody, but they reproduce fast, like quick. I'm talking about like year one, year two, right? And not even fully established yet. Don't do that. I'm not telling you to not go out there and be fruitful and multiply, because I think that's a beautiful. I think that's one of the most beautiful things on planet Earth for people to do. But what I'm saying is, don't do it before you're ready. Don't do it before you have established a financial foundation for yourself. Okay, and before you have a good grasp on your career and kind of know what your trajectory will be. All right, and the marriage thing, a lot of people jump in and they do that real fast because, like he say, depending on where you stationed at, depending on where you located, it is a good chunk of money. I'm not gonna lie, especially once you get you know, promoted to the NCO level and things like that. It is a substantial amount of money if you're doing it right. I'm not going to go into my details about things, but I live in a nice house. I had my car before I joined the military, but my family, like, we live pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, we live pretty decent. It's not no going to Japan on leave or going to Dubai and vacation in Puerto Rico and things like that. It's not that, but it's not to a point where I'm living paycheck to paycheck. If you know what I'm saying, it's not to a point where I only got $100 left after I pay all my bills, and I got a lot of bills. Like I do a lot, so it's a substantial amount. And if you handle it right, if you're a good steward of your finances, right, they're gonna be good back to you. Like the army gonna take care of you. I'm just gonna be honest, man. Like suffer for the first 3, 4, maybe 5 years, like till you hit that E5. You know, shoot, if you really high speed, I done seen some people hitting six at the age of 24. Real talk. Hitting E6 at 24, like that's absurd to me. But some people have done it. Like it just be like that in certain MOSs. But yeah, man, you will do all right financially. I like I kind of I kind of want to agree with him when he say that we should get paid more. But then again, I look at it like I ain't gonna lie, bro. As a single specialist, I was broke. I'm gonna keep it G, bro. I was so down bad and broke. But it wasn't necessarily because of the pay. It's because I came into the army with civilian bills, if that makes sense. Like army people, you really shouldn't have bills, but a lot of people like to drink. They like to go out to eat, and not in a fancy restaurant, but Burger King, Subway, Charlie's, all the stuff on post. They go do this every single day. You spending 8, 9, 10, $12 a day. Then they want to buy the Red Bulls. Then they want to buy whatever they fix is, nicotine, caffeine, protein. They doing this every single day. That little $15 that you spending every day, it adds up. All right. And then you're gonna want to go out on the weekend and do something. Now you're going to the bar and spending all this money instead of just chilling with your boys and drinking. Or some people excessively drink, right? Yeah, a $40 bottle ain't gonna kill you, but when you doing this every 3 or 4 days, it's gonna tear your pockets up. So he ain't lying, man. A lot of people do not handle they finances the correct way, and that's going to get you in trouble in the military. But like I've been able to pay off a lot of debt. I've been able to pay a lot of bills. I've been able to save up in a substantial amount of income, of money, especially like while I was overseas, right? And I was sending a lot of bread back home. But nevertheless, like, yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. Yeah, do I want to get paid more? Oh, for sure, for sure. Government, I'm telling you right now, as a married E5, if y'all was to raise our paycheck up another 5-10%, it'll be sweet. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna go recruit and tell everybody to join, man. On top of the benefits that we get, it's a great life. It's a great life. I don't care what nobody say. Like y'all can hate on the army, y'all can hate on the military all you want to, but it's a great life, bro, and it'll do a lot for you. But that's enough for me yapping. I'm gonna get back into the video.
More for you guys. Okay, so the fourth and final way the military has benefited me is building my, personal confidence, right? Before I joined the army, I actually messed up my life. I was doing good in life for a little while, and then I went completely like negative, like net worth negative, and I tore my ACL, meniscus, and I just messed up my leg in every possible way you could think of. I tore it 3 times to the point where I couldn't walk at all. So right before the army, for that smooth year, I was trying to walk again, blah blah blah. Even when I joined the army, I was still limping. I was able to jog a little bit though, right? I signed a waiver to get in. When I joined the army, I was doing physical therapy with my drill sergeant and basic training. Shout out to my drill sergeant Walker. And the army helped me build my leg back up to the point where a lot of times I forget that I even had that injury. Like I'll be playing basketball, I'll be doing races and getting super high scores on my ACFT, which is the military fitness test for my people who don't know. The military helped me build my confidence. Like I am capable of this. You go to airborne school. Like for my people that want to join the army and go to airborne school is when you like become a paratrooper and jump out of planes. You pass airborne school, your confidence gonna be through the roof because you be like, damn, I passed something so difficult and so scary. I could do anything in life. The Army will help you build your confidence. Because let's use basic training. One during a forage, which is a very long ruck. A ruck basically is when you walk a very long time with like various amount of pounds on your back. So during basic training, they didn't go easy on us for my cycle, right? So we did a 13-mile ruck early in the morning after spending 3 days, 3 days and nights in the woods, right? And we was working hard that final day. We was so exhausted. And remember, I'm just coming off an injury. So I'm limping a little bit. And I keep on saying, yo, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And it got to the point where when we finally made it to the end of that ruck, which was so hard, I gained more confidence in myself that I am capable. I am strong. I can do this. You get what I'm saying? The military will help you build the confidence that you need to apply to other areas in your life and be successful. I promise you. The military has benefited me in a lot of different ways. That was just a few.
It was only like a minute left in the video. Y'all can go check him out, man. Shout out to this guy. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, like on the personal confidence side. Again, I'm not talking about me myself. I was already what I was when I joined the military. It is what it is. I was already established. I was already these things. But I'm gonna take it to from how he took it to. So let's go back to step one, basic training. I was a lot older. A lot of the guys and gals I was in basic training with knew this, right? And they were significantly like 10 years younger than me, right? But I've seen people, for instance, I had one young lady who was in my platoon, and um to me, kind of getting picked on, but getting picked out as well. And when we first started, I'm talking about Shorty couldn't even do like 10, 15 push-ups, right? Um, Halfway through, started doing about 20. But by the time we left, she trained with me for like a week straight when we would do remedial training, and she was maxing it, right? I'm talking about crushing all the other women, young ladies crushing them. And I was proud about that. And I seen that confidence in her keep building, keep building, keep building, right? Now he talked about the forwards. Man, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty difficult. Like I think after they calculated it up, the drill sergeant said we worked like maybe 50 miles over that whole span of time. And not gonna lie, I was kind of jacked when I joined. I was almost like 195 when I joined. Left basic training like maybe shoot like 175. But yeah, we did that little forward thing, and for the first 24 hours, I did not sleep, not once. I think for the first like 36 hours, I didn't sleep. Between the first 2 days, I slept maybe a total of like 2 hours. No lie. They have this thing like where you the APG or the PG of the group, basically where you in charge. And I was that during this time, and man, it wore me out. It wore me out. So I seen guys build themselves up from red phase all the way to the forge, and I seen this confidence in them. Right, you learning DNC, learning how to march, learning all these different things, learning tactics, the different lanes that you do when you're doing the trainings. And I've seen people go dealing with handling weapons and not ever firing a weapon in their entire life, get to the point where they're shooting sharpshooter and dang, they're expert. Right, that's a beautiful thing. I've seen that. And not no credit to myself, it was the drill sergeants. They did a phenomenal job at this. But even getting to my first unit, seeing guys who never really exercised, never really did this, never really did that, and now we're doing 25, 30-mile rucks and they're completing it. Young guys who just played video games their whole life and watch YouTube and things like that. Now they're going to the board, the promotion board, going to the Soldier of the Month board, and me being in the field with these guys during training events and talking to them, picking their brain and trying to give them little advice and little game, and seeing them accomplish all these things, in garrison or overseas. I've witnessed this. I've witnessed their confidence level shoot sky high. And I love that for them because that's a real thing that men and women need, of all nationalities, ethnicities, genders. That we need that. We need that. All right. So that's very big. And he's not lying about that. Like you're definitely going to get a high level of personal confidence when it comes to joining the military, and especially standing and you complete hard things, right? So great video by this guy, man. Y'all go check him out. Shout out to NX coming. Great video about how the military has positively affected his life. It definitely has positively affected mine. I love to see videos like this. These are the reactions that I like to do because it's enough people on here talking about what they don't like about the military and how bad it is. But don't listen to them. Don't listen to them if you're about to join. If you don't ever plan on joining, cool. Listen to them. Like it ain't gonna hurt you none. But if you're gonna join, I'm gonna be honest, but just listen to the positive reinforcement. Just listen to the positive voices, right? And it'll take you a long way. All right. And again, shout out to NX coming. That was a great video. I love seeing things like this, especially from younger guys. I'm currently entering my second contract. I re-enlisted. I finished my first one. It was a smooth ride. You're gonna have hard times, you're gonna have good times, you're gonna make a lot of memories. But what I say is make the best of it. All right. And without that, I mean, with that being said, I'm out.